Thank you guys for all the feedback on the podcast now with video. We're getting really good comments on YouTube every time. It's also available on Spotify. Of course, if you're listening as well, we just love that you're still listening. Thank you for that. It will continue as an audio-only podcast. We are trying to make it a thing where if you're not watching, you're still enjoying. But thank you to all of you that are watching and enjoying. We are diving in with all the stuff. We've got news up front. We've got a Topic Tuesday where we're talking about Lotus, close to my heart.
Well, I thought we've done the Porsche problem.
Yes.
And I thought we should touch on Lotus Lessons. We're tentatively calling it Lotus Lessons.
Yes.
So we
Agreed.
should touch on just stuff going on with Lotus. And the further I dug in, the more questions that I have. I don't know that I solved anything. I just
but there are
raised
questions.
more questions.
There are many questions. We've got 2 car debates, 2 car conclusions, all the normal stuff. We're getting into questions from you guys at the end. So thank you for being with us as always. We're going to dive into, I know this is not a surprise. It's not even really news, but it is official. Stellantis is not doing well.
You thought Nissan wasn't doing well. Well, they're kind of the best of the not doing wells, the worst of the not doing well companies. Car
The ones
companies
we're worried
lately.
about, Nissan's at the top, but
Nissan's
shortly following them
they're at
is
the bottom,
Stellantis.
which means they're at the top.
Yes, the Stellantarians, the weird space people.
You put up all the brands,
Yes,
so you can see
the weird space
everything.
people. There's so many brands here. I mean, the place. Here's the thing: in the U.S. media, when you read this news, they've had like a $2.7 billion loss, and it's almost always tied to Jeep. When I was reading about it in U.S. media, because you say Stellantis, and the average person goes, I don't know what Stellantis is.
What?
So it's either Jeep or Dodge get mentioned up front, so people know who that is. But I mean, there's so many brands under here. I would argue too many brands under here. But this whole series of news could kind of be tentatively titled tariff problems, because the tariffs are coming around and having major issues in the automotive area. But
Worldwide,
Stellantis is talking about a $2.7 billion loss that they are attributing. Now, I'm sure there's other stuff going on.
Less than Nissan, so good job.
It is technically less than Nissan. Compared to Nissan, we haven't had a bad year.
But did it.
$2.7 billion, they're attributing a lot of that to tariffs and the new cost because of tariffs. We knew it wasn't going to hide.
Yeah.
So, that's going on. That's not good news.
You know, I've read a lot of comments about where it should be, where the mojo for Stellantis should go, because all these brands, Chrysler brand, they really only make the minivan. Well, wait, we make the Voyager too. It's the same
make a minivan,
thing. You make the minivan. Dodge coming back, and they're thinking about reintroducing the Hemi. So nothing like looking to the past to resurrect something that ended to goose sales for the future. Hey, we had to go back to things that sold. That was proven that it did well. People liked that.
For sure, yeah.
So do we keep going? Do we bring the next iteration of the Hellcat back to make something interesting? Because I still do not find the Charger EV compelling. It's not an interesting design. It's not a pretty car.
Yes.
I don't think it's interesting looking.
It's interesting you bring it up, because I actually, there's discussion of it's being tested with the actual gasoline motor, which is probably going to be the same thing in the RHO is what I believe it is.
It's that inline six.
It's the straight six twin turbo, which is a heck of a motor with a lot of power. It's not a Hemi, but it's not an EV, because the EV sales on these have been abysmal.
And I've worried about them building the new version of the Quadrifoglio or the Giulia on this chassis.
Oh, sure. And
making the Giulia enormous, because that, from a business standpoint, that makes sense.
You're right. Yep.
We've got this platform now.
Rear-wheel drive, 4-door sedan.
Correct.
Let's just make it the new Giulia.
All-wheel drive, whatever it is.
It'd be like the Giulia as a limo, because this is a huge car.
Enormous.
It's a huge car.
Go back to your screen here. Yeah, that I'm not compelled by the design. I don't think it stands out. I think the prior generation was more interesting, actually. I thought it was
interesting. I mean,
design-wise,
I kind of like this. I got to be honest. I actually do like this. I think it looks great. And but and the Force door is the one that really hasn't been out much yet. It's been the EV 2-door that they can't give away. I mean, honestly, that's really what's happened, is they can't give away the 2-door EV version.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter that it has a crazy EV howl, as they're trying to figure out, okay, well, people like the Hellcat for sound, so let's make an EV howl. None of that's mattered. We walked around this car at SEMA in 2-door form, and we're both astonished at how massive it is. And also, as a 2-door, it somehow seems bigger even. A 4-door is going to make a little more sense, but you're right. This is every bit as big as the last Charger. I would say, if you put them side by side, probably bigger. And I don't want this to be the Giulia, because the Giulia is, even though it's a cool four-door and I love it, it shouldn't be this big.
I got that sinking feeling like, oh, what if they do that? Because that's how marketing and business people think. Well, we've got that platform. That's the new thing. We got to share it. We got to extract our dollars.
That's the key. You got to amortize all the machining that you did. Yeah.
I think the alpha version of that would be far more compelling. I think it's the generic version of the prior generation. It's the blander, more slab-sided, more generic, scrubbed of personality version of the prior Charger and Challenger, actually.
Interesting, because I see so much of that 69 era in this, but...
well, sure, but then they're trying to capture that 69 era and draw on the heartstrings.
Without question.
I totally remember those. That's what it is now? Okay, and they were counting on those buyers to come back, and clearly $2.7 billion worth of those buyers did not show up.
Well, I'm looking at all of these brands here that are part of Stellantis, and let's think about all the places that you could use that rear-wheel drive Dodge. Obviously, you could do the Dodge. You could do the Alfa Romeo. I'd hate that, but you could. Let's see, Maserati could use that platform. You know it's out there. What about Opel? They could do a big Vauxhall for sure. Vauxhall could do a big new four-door sedan under the Vauxhall brand. This is how you amortize this out.
Chrysler would bring the 300C back.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Look at the current Bentley styling and just copy it. Make the new 300C on the. There's two big narratives going on right now across all of the car industry, and I feel like so many news stories we're hearing fall into one of two things: the EV pullback or tariffs. And these conversations today cover all of the above. It is amazing how that is affecting everything.
One addition to that thought, and that is the product portfolio itself. Because I think that's the third major part of all of these problems the entire car industry is having. They don't seem to have the right product mix. The only company that stands out in my mind is Toyota.
They have the broadest portfolio of anybody right now. You're right. It's a good point.
I mean, they're the biggest company, so they can afford to offer the widest range of products and justify it. But Stellantis is large too.
Absolutely.
Surprised me to find out they're based in the Netherlands. Like,
I'm sure there's a tax reason for that.
There is.
There is an accounting reason why their HQ is the Netherlands. Yes.
I think even if all of these companies had the perfect product portfolio, of course, the EV pullback and the tariffs would have affected that. But I think that would have been lessened because Toyota certainly is making changes and feeling it just like any other car company. But you look at their product mix and what they've done. They've done such a great variety. And here we have Stellantis with car brands that only make one thing. Dodge with their Charger.
It is astonishing.
Charger Challenger, but still it's the same
It is astonishing.
car. Chrysler with the minivan. Rams with just the truck, even though the engine, the V8, needs to come back. And they're going to use that as marketing. The Hemi's back, everybody.
It
try
is.
to juice sales on that one.
Yes.
Maserati. I almost think they should divest themselves of Maserati, almost that and Alpha, but I don't know. They can't stand on their own.
And you don't know where they go.
And who picks them up?
You're right. You're totally right, yeah.
Nissan can't afford them. They can't afford Nissan.
GM wants to make EVs, and those cars need actual motors.
The German conglomerates.
They're not going to touch
They're not going to touch those.
Them. Not at all, yeah.
They'd have to be subsidized by the Italian government because of the prideful Maserati and Alpha. So they can't go anywhere. It's not that
interesting point.
It's not that they don't want to sell. It's they've realized they can't. So they have to keep building new models.
Well, speaking of things kind of not working, if you want to talk about it in that regard, talking about product portfolios and that kind of thing, I hate to go here, but I'm going to, and that is Porsche. Porsche has said in articles all over the place, the current CEO of Porsche, his quote was, "Our business model is now proving to not be working. It is no longer working." Now, this
is a terrible quote.
This is their current lineup, at least close to current lineup. This doesn't have the EV Macan in it, but it has everything else.
Okay, yeah.
So think about it. This is Cayenne, Macan, Panamera, Taycan, 911, and Cayman Boxster. This is the product portfolio at Porsche. They actually are having an increase in sales here in the U.S., about 10% up this year, but they're down more than 40% in China.
Yeah, North America is now their largest market,
which is crazy.
China has pulled back in sales quite a bit.
We're talking about also issues again here of tariffs. That's It's more expensive to sell a Porsche here now, so that's part of it. But then there's a secondary part of that equation that's going to relate to lots of things as we head into our Lotus Lessons discussion here in a minute, and that is, I don't think the Chinese care to buy anyone else's EVs. I think their EV market has been so subsidized by their government and has grown so fast with so many options that if you're buying an EV, they have so many domestic options. I think that China is becoming a complete dead zone for anybody that is trying to sell an EV that is not a Chinese automaker. And Porsche is pivoting, as many others have, of course. Porsche is pivoting for, well, let's sell EVs now. Well, if China's off the table, because nobody's going to buy your EV because you're not a Chinese EV company.
Right.
And I really do think this is happening. Then you have to sell them here and everywhere else. And the Taycan sales have fallen off a cliff. And of course, used, you want to get a deal on an EV right now, get yourself a Taycan. I mean, they're still $60,000+, but they were like $200,000 a couple years ago. And you could get a really nice Taycan now for well under six figures, which is astounding for what is a very good EV, but people don't care. And the EV Macan is fine. I haven't heard anything about the fact that it's like the EV Macan is selling great. It's not selling in China well at all.
No.
And here I see a few, but every time I see one here, it looks awkward. It just looks awkward. And I think that awkwardness is what's under the camo of the Cayman Boxster, because it just doesn't look quite right, and I can't put my finger on it. I can tell you the things about the Macan EV that look wrong, like the front, the whole front fascia is too long to try to get aerodynamic,
too tall for the
efficiency out of it. It comes way down. The front aerodynamic, everything comes way down. It's like, what is that? Why is it wearing a weird skirt?
They're packaging it over that flat floor, the same,
and they've got to get what's
the
airflow to get us all the best efficiency and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So Porsche has already said that they're not sure what to do about the electric Cayman Boxster, and the entire world is going, we don't really want that. So that's going on. The Taycan's fallen off a cliff. China is a no-go zone. So Porsche is now going, what do we do next? And here's the thing, it's in huge contrast to the fact that the EU has new regulations, which is why the Cayman Boxster have died, new regulations for the output of gasoline motors. And so the reason the current Cayman and Boxster are dying is because the current round of engines don't pass.
Yes.
So that's why they went, well, we'll just go EV. And the market is going, we don't really want your EVs. So, wow.
The compounded problem, no, let me back up. The Chinese market that you're talking about, I think you're right, because we are also going to see quite a few Chinese brands, some we haven't even heard of yet, that will fold because of the glut, actually.
Absolutely, yes.
But with Porsche, it's not just the current product mix. It's what they've got in the hopper. It's what's in the pipeline currently that we're hearing about, that EV Cayman Boxster that already, if the market is making noises, strong noises, that they don't want a car already before you've even released the concept. All we've seen is renderings. We haven't even seen
or spy shots on the ring where it's not Porsche doesn't really want you to see it yet, but here's a spy shot on the ring. We've seen that kind of stuff.
It's deliberate. It's a game. It's a dance between the photographers and the media, and it's just designed to get you excited. And of course, the car manufacturers peel back the clothing over time. So here's the latest photos with the least amount of cladding we've ever seen. And now we can really see some stuff, and it's this
You're absolutely
ongoing game. But the market has already expressed dismay and disinterest in this EV Cayman. The Sport Turismo Taycan, I think, is actually pretty. I think it's so
great
sexy,
fantastic looking.
And I think, would I want it though? It doesn't seem at close to $200,000. Does it seem like a worthwhile investment? And it doesn't to me, simply because of how fast the EV tech marches, how fast everything goes. Because as cool as that car is, that's going to feel obsolete in 3 years.
You're right.
So they're leasemobiles. That's everything in the portfolio now becomes leasemobiles, which means Porsche is pointing themselves in the direction of the value placed upon it, the overinflated value is going to come down and be parity with everything else, which is what they're feeling. It's not that, remember the 911 thing? It spiked and, 911s cost what they frankly shouldn't.
Well, the resale value of Porsches have always been incredibly high, and you're making an interesting point.
I'll just wait to get it used. Actually, used are more expensive. Yeah. Wait, that's not a good idea.
It may bring them down to everything
That's not
else.
a solution.
I mean, it'll keep their special edition cars really high, but here's another thing that doesn't get discussed a lot. And again, I am the owner of 2 different Porsche Cayennes. I know one is a PHEV and one is not, but there is an all EV Cayenne coming.
That's right.
How much does the market not want that? I mean, honestly,
I think a lot. When I heard the Toyota investment in a 7-passenger EV, a big SUV, that they have now tabled, which means that program has died.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean we'll pull it out a little bit later. We'll wait a couple of years. No, that has been shelved. That is
waiting
done,
for any market
gone.
interest, and there isn't any right now. Yeah.
And now this Cayenne, no, it'll be awesome. Yeah. Okay, a few people will buy it.
Of course,
but
absolutely, yeah.
Not what they need, not the kind of sales figures they need. So the 911 will keep marching on, aero bit by aero bit, to make it slightly faster. Don't need more power.
Well, and we talked about it when we drove the GTS recently. I think Porsche's really cool split hybrid turbo technology. I think that's the way.
Yes.
I think that's the way forward to get efficiency, because that car also, that's part of, back to these EU regulations, that's part of the reason that exists like that, because it's passing the new EU standards for emissions by running that platform. So let's start working that through the lineup.
So at this point, why haven't we heard, along with all 3 of these issues, any car manufacturer talk about e-fuels? How come that has died? It's been 2 years since Porsche was making a lot of noises about e-fuels and supporting all of their models all the way back to the first Porsche with e-fuels to make them more efficient. You know, the emissions changes.
I don't know how that affects the emission stuff. It's a great question.
No other car company, Corvette, Chevy, they're not really talking about e-fuels. The other German car companies are not talking about e-fuels, although I believe that technology is advancing.
Well, and we've also heard that Chevron, I believe, is actually doing a lot on their own about that.
We have talked with them.
And Porsche was doing their own thing, and so definitely it exists, and it is interesting. You bring up a great question. I wonder, what do the e-fuels? I know they don't use petroleum. That's the point. But do they burn cleaner? I have no idea. Does that? Because here's the thing, if that doesn't burn any cleaner, then it's a non-starter with these new regulations.
Of course.
And I don't know how that relates. And somebody watching, I'm sure you actually probably know. But this is very interesting that Porsche is just saying, and please don't misunderstand me. I know we did a whole thing on Porsche. This is not me coming down on Porsche. I'm not. In this case, I'm just saying I think it's very interesting that Porsche from the top is saying, we got to make a big change. And they have been the most successful brand as far as the actual profit per model sold. And you bring up a great point. I do wonder if that's just going to have to settle so they look like everybody else on the market. They've been the golden goose for a while, where every one of their cars has got huge profit margin, and that's worked really well for them. But the stumble and fail of the Taycan in sales is a big hit. And the fact that I'm going to stand by it, I think that China doesn't want anyone's EV if it doesn't come locally. Because why?
Agreed.
We've got them. We've done EVs.
They've got plenty of their own technology now.
Yes.
You're right. And I think this is emblematic of the industry. I'm not coming down on Porsche necessarily either, because almost every car company has their current models that are faltering, but also what's in the pipeline is not the solve. So they're doubly screwed.
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
I think every car company is feeling that way. And so you're right. China, they've got the EV thing kind of down. It's also almost like, well, not leave it to them, but leave it to them. You know what I mean? They've got incredible tech.
China spends a lot of money subsidizing their own products in their own country. So you have that built on top of the other issue, and that is, prior to EVs, China has no legacy automakers. It's not like, well, the Chinese have always made... There's not really an end to that sentence.
Right.
They've always bought other people's cars, essentially. Right. I mean, they've had some, but very minimal. Any kind, and all of the pure Chinese cars weren't good enough to sell anywhere else. So it's almost like they started blank sheet with electric cars, and they know tech, and they've done tech very well as a culture for decades. And then you have a government who's not worried about, how do I put this kindly, making sure the books look right. They'll subsidize, they'll move the pieces around so that it's a shell game. So as a result, you have local car makers who are going to get subsidized in a market that only needs to be EVs, doesn't need to be anything else. There's no legacy that we have to worry about. And then oh, they're all successful. Eh.
Since you're listening to us, you'll end up shopping for your next car very soon. And when you do, you need Autotempest.com.
Any car, anywhere, at any price, Autotempest searches all the major car listing sites on the web, local or nationwide. And Autotempest has recently added price history for every car listed, so you can see how prices are trending and know if you found a good deal. You can also create search alerts and lists of saved searches so you can find your perfect spec even easier next time.
Search on any device, in your browser, or as an app for Apple iOS and Android. New, used, or unexpected, Autotempest is how we search for cars. Go to Autotempest.com/everyday so they know we sent you. Autotempest. All the cars. One search.
Speaking of Chinese EVs, that actually moves us very nicely into our topic of the day, which is Lotus. And I'm going to start right here.
Okay.
With the Avaya. Talk about Chinese EVs. Because Lotus, my beloved brand that I love very much, you all know, is owned by Geely,
yes.
a Chinese company.
Yes.
Who is one of these companies making lots of EVs for China in various subsidiaries. This is the Avaya, a fantastic looking car. If you've ever seen the Avaya, this is, what was it going to be, $2 million and 2,000 horsepower or something like that?
2011 horsepower.
Oh, sorry, I
Not
missed
just
that
a
extra
measly
11.
old
Yeah.
2000.
Yeah. All-wheel drive, electric, hypercar. The best thing so far, I hate to say this, the best thing so far to come out of the Avaya is it inspired the styling of the Emira.
That's a great point. I think this is one of the prettiest cars. I think your Emira is so pretty. It is the prettiest car on sale, hands down. Currently, it's the most beautiful car, far and away. But this inspired it. You're right.
Absolutely.
And I think this is one of the prettier cars.
Absolutely. It's gorgeous.
But this is 5 years old. And they're just now starting to make deliveries.
Mm-hmm.
They had to sort out a few things, and then the deliveries start.
Sorry, that's amazing. That was very kindly put.
Do I need to expound?
Sort out a few things is excellent, yes.
Hopefully you understand what I'm referring to. I don't need to expound on the issues Lotus is having, but once they've figured out production locations and now they've got the car tested and sorted and deliveries are happening. I did watch Ben Collins' video when he drove this on track, and what a superb video. I liked his commentary while on track describing the car, but the conclusion that he ultimately reached was, where do you take this? Because it's not designed as a high downforce track car. So if it's not just a personal track car, even though it can, but in the hands of Ben Collins, anything could be a really amazing track car. But that's not exactly what Lotus is going after. It's a bit of a showpiece. You can cruise around in this. Yes, you can track it, but there's other higher hypercars just like this that are designed as the play toy track car. So what exactly do you do with this? Avaya deliveries are now happening, which is great. I'm glad to see that they're coming through, because I thought, oh yeah, whatever happened to that thing? And they're just now delivering it. But 5 years from concept sketch all the way to delivery now, it feels like I could have bought insert anything else here, and I could have bought it slightly used. 5 years, you're kind of waiting for some cool things to happen. Yeah. It's still beautiful and cool. And
it's gorgeous.
I think it's superb. I love this thing.
The huge, crazy gull-wing doors. But the other thing that's happened in that 5 years, think about the competitors for this. When Lotus announced this, the Tourbillon hadn't been announced yet. Mate Rimac had just taken over Bentley and Bugatti, and the Rimac was being discussed on Top Gear and other places as the future of hypercars were going to be EV. The Pininfarina Baptista had been introduced, this super high horsepower EV, and then the market turned. We're back to tariffs and EV market turn. Then the market turned, and even Mate Rimac is going, well, this upper level buyer doesn't want an EV.
Koenigsegg has identified that. Horacio Pagani, like you said, Ferrari.
Lotus is stuck in the lurch here with their hypercar from their Chinese owner who makes EVs, is an EV hypercar that's super expensive. I heard that, actually, what I'm about to say, I don't know if it's right. I heard that if you'd like to get a Tourbillon and you're not already on the list, you will be encouraged to buy a Rimac to get you on the list. I've heard this. I don't know that this is true.
This
is a little bit
Ferrari
into hearsay
behavior.
It is, but because those are still available, because those hypercars haven't sold.
We got a bunch of those out back. You want one of these, and that'll get you.
So Lotus has had this problem before. I mean, Lotus has had this problem with Esprits and other stuff where they got released into a market that had moved on, or a market that had crashed, or whatever. I mean, this is the thing that killed the XJ220 Jaguar. By the time it got released, the market had turned, and nobody could afford it. The problem with this Evija, if it had been released when they announced it, it would have been probably a different animal. But released now, it's behind the fact that the market is having a shift that I think affects the entire Lotus product line and future.
We identified Lotus' next design concept,
yes,
the future of what Lotus would be, and that would be the Theory 1, an EV with 986 horsepower, a lot of horsepower.
I'm sure they could have made it 1,000, but anyway, 986. We'll
Half
take that.
of the Evija, though.
I don't know what's going on there. They weren't trying hard enough.
Doors that are patent pending, and carbon tub with composites and polycarbonate panels and a lot of recycled materials and a lot of investigation into haptics and even into clothing. Lotus Wear. The car is called Lotus Wear. It's all part of the future plan.
The car talks to your jacket and weird things like that. I know it sounds insane, but also these doors are incredibly cool. They're not just gull-wing doors. They actually slide back on a track as they open.
Doors are timeless. You can put doors on a...
Oh, yeah.
The market will change and the doors will still be cool. Let's put it that way.
And this is
the concept,
a suggestion of where Lotus could go.
They
on
could
all
go.
Fronts. Yeah.
But what does every car manufacturer do from low to high end to create the halo car that gets customers interested and excited to get it onto market quickly enough, or else they shouldn't reveal it and keep it in their hip pocket? Because as you said, what if the Evija were revealed a month ago? Or right now.
Yeah.
Wow, what a beautiful car. You guys know the EV, like your timing's like a little off, like 5 years off. But it kind of gets a pass because it was introduced in the past. 5 years in car building world is a
long time.
Long time.
Especially now, yeah.
So how do car manufacturers get ahead of the problem? I still see it as Toyota being a leader because they've investigated so many. So many car companies flip their own switch.
GM, 5-6 years ago said we're going to go all EV. Well, okay, on one level it looks like GM's being cutting edge, but when the world turns around you, now you have nothing else to fall back on. That is tough.
Yeah.
That's really tough.
Interesting. Yeah, here's the sketch. I just thought that was so beautiful of the Evija, and this thing is really fascinating. But as supercars go, they all carry that same mid-engine kind of shape.
It's a gorgeous shape. I get
it's a gorgeous shape, but you could have a V8 or a V12 or any kind of
you could put any other
gas motor
want.
in this, and you'd think, okay, some kind of cool supercar. So if it's going to be an EV hyper crazy car, why does it even have to look like this?
Fair point, but you've also actually walked us to the next conversation, and that is, okay, I have an Emira, and I bought the Emira because it is a last-of-the-breed car. Forget what Lotus has said, which I'll get there in a second. It's a last-of-breed car because it is a rear-wheel drive, manual transmission, hydraulic steering, mid-engine car that is non-turbo. That is a car from like 1995. Seriously.
That's a great point.
It is a car from like
20,
30 years ago as far as the normal build sheet. And it's one of the reasons that I love it. It's one of the reasons that it's unique. It's one of the reasons, frankly, that many people online are like, well, why on earth is the Emira not 600 plus horsepower? Because we've all been recalibrated to crazy amounts of power.
10 years ago, 500 horsepower in a car was, wow, that is something.
If you drive an Emira hard, there are not situations where you're just like, well, man, that's just slow. That's not a thing. It's not a thing that happens. There's plenty of passing power
really isn't.
In the Emira. It is not a drag strip car, but it's a very powerful, good car.
I mean, the recipe is 95. If it drove like it did now in 95, it would have been the world's best car.
It would have been the world's best car. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. But I'm saying that build sheet is like the build sheet everybody wanted in the late 90s, okay? And it's been built in 2025, and I love it because it is a car that's a throwback. But Lotus has said this is going to be our last internal combustion engine non-EV ever. When the car was announced,
I question that.
I
throw darts at
changing.
that.
No, I agree with you.
I question that immensely.
I completely agree with you, because the two cars that were announced after it, the Elettra and the Amaya. So we've got
Amaya.
Yeah, whatever. So
there's
we've got
the Avaya X. Yeah, here we go.
So the sedan electric,
Yes,
and the SUV electric. You're not hearing much about those anymore.
Did Lotus customers ask for these? I know we didn't get a phone call, but did Lotus customers ask? You know what you guys should do is...
The Elettra is out, by the way. I don't know if any of you knew this. I don't know if any of you have even seen one. You can...
it's out.
You as people with money can go buy the Elettra electric SUV from Lotus. I have seen one actual dealer demonstrator, and I have seen zero on the road. Now, maybe you watching have seen one, but my point is...
we saw it... we saw
it at the Lotus dealer.
Well, some at the track when they had the Lotus Experience.
Well, there's
at the
that,
track.
but I don't even count that. That's some sort of PR event. I'm saying one in the wild at all, and it was at our local dealer, and there it was. And the local dealer, I hate to say this, was using it as their, like, when folks at the dealer, all the people that work there go to lunch, they would just take that car because it was never needed for a test drive. It was always full for the EV. They would just grab it and go because it was easy.
And it's also a little bit of a promo to drive it around and show it off.
And you can put 4 or 5 whatever people in it, and it was easy to go to lunch. That's how they use this thing. So the point I'm making here is this is not a concept. We've talked about 2 other cars that really aren't available from Lotus. Their new Theory 1 and the Avaya that was announced 5 years ago and just came out. But did anybody, like currently, right now listening to this podcast, have you thought about the fact that you could go buy the SUV that's currently, it's for sale, and nobody's buying them?
I think you can buy the Amaya
I think
too.
in some markets, maybe.
Some
I don't
markets.
know that it's here yet.
Not globally,
but this brings
markets.
us back to my China EV comment.
Yeah.
The problem, I think, for this SUV for Lotus, and I understand what the conversation probably was. Well, Lotus is a small niche sports car manufacturer. We have to branch it out. Porsche won by going SUV. We should follow the Porsche model. That will work. I see the logic. And it is. Look, the Cayenne and the Macan saved Porsche. That's absolutely the history.
Yeah.
I see the logic, but the problem is nobody's going to buy an electric SUV from Lotus if you can buy an equivalent from anybody else. And this electric SUV from Lotus is related to Chinese SUVs also for sale. It's not like it is a bespoke chassis. It's not like you can't get anything like this. It's not like the only person selling anything like that on the market is Lotus. We could just have an internal list here of other 5-seat SUVs that are super powerful from brands, I hate to say it, and I love Lotus, from brands that you know will work.
Also, brands that you know exist, because when you drive your car around, everybody asks you, is that a fur?
It says Lotus on the back in big letters.
That?
People behind it go, I wonder what kind of car that is.
I spent like 10 minutes trying to figure out what that is. What is that car?
Yes.
A Lotus? Mm-hmm. Lotus still exists? Mm-hmm. Lotus makes SUVs? Are you kidding me? Never heard of that. I dug into sales numbers.
Oh, God. Okay.
Only January through March, Q1 of 2025 is currently available as of this podcast recording. It is published on the Lotus website. Q1 2025 worldwide, 719 SUVs and sedans were sold.
Combined.
The
SUV and sedans, 719 total.
500.
Okay.
That's in Q1.
Understood. Q1. But yeah, that's both models though.
555 sports cars. So that probably includes the Avaya, but that's probably mostly the Emira. 550
of them were Emiras and
exactly.
5 of them were Amayas, yeah.
For a total of 1,274 vehicles, again, Q1. Mm-hmm. Compared to the previous year, though, that is a year-over-year decline of minus 42%.
Yikes.
Lotus isn't a large car company, and they're already experiencing a negative year-over-year of 42%. And last year at this time, the prior Q1 was 1,800 vehicles, and that was mostly Emira. I mean, it was actually still kind of comparable because these were available in select markets, but it's not a recognizable car brand to most people, even though both of these are priced in the same kind of Mercedes, Porsche.
Absolutely, yes.
I know BMW, I guess I've heard of Maserati and
without question.
All the rest, all those, if you're shopping, they're about comparably priced.
These are Porsche alternatives, is what they are. These are absolutely Porsche alternatives, and I guarantee you they were looking at the Porsche product portfolio and the pricing. But the thing I think is interesting about those numbers you just brought up, that means that the Emira, holding the line on sports cars by itself, sold almost as much as both of their brand new models in EV, sedan and SUV.
Last gas-powered sports car ever.
Well, yes, and I don't. Not only do I think that, but I have an idea for what I think Lotus should be. But I also think this connects up to something else going on, and that is there has been a lot of chatter in the UK in the last couple of weeks because something was said in passing, and I don't know who's at fault here, but something was said at passing, and all of a sudden it reverberated through all of the UK, and then also the general world automotive media market, that Lotus was going to close the Hethel plant. And
the government stepped in.
Whether that's true or not, the UK government has taken it seriously, and there have been phone calls. There have been what I imagine are some pretty awkward phone calls because Lotus has backpedal. I don't know where the rumor comes from. I don't know how true the rumor was, but Lotus is now standing around going, we were never going to close the Hethel plant.
What are you talking?
The rumor came from somewhere.
Yeah, it did.
Okay? And so the UK is doing everything
it was probably floated by executives like, how do you think people are going to feel? Like, shouldn't we? Like,
there was a baboom
let's
in
just
Parliament.
Float it out there.
Yeah. Everybody from the Prime Minister down to like the local people in government in the area of Hethel have said, absolutely not on my watch. We're keeping this. Now, the UK auto market used to be huge. The number of factories in the UK was astounding, and they're almost all been shuttered.
Yeah.
But this Hethel plant has been around forever. Now, it's obviously not high volume, but they put a bunch of money into it to start making the Emira. Mm-hmm. But we're back to the tariff edition because the U.S. tariffs have made Lotus, of all companies, this is insane to me, of all companies on the planet, say, maybe we should build Lotuses in the U.S. And I'm going, you're not going to spend that kind of money to make the kind of cars you're selling.
Volvo isn't.
Exactly.
The Volvo brand, even though it's
the UK
all still Geely,
is fighting for lower tariffs. I think it's like 10% tariffs for any UK brands, JLR, Jaguar, etc., coming into the US, and they may get that, and Lotus would theoretically be included. But this, talk about creating ripples in government. All of the folks in England in government were like, you're going to do what now? So I don't know.
It represents job losses.
Totally. And it also looks really bad because your Chinese company buys a historic British brand and everybody goes, oh my gosh, it's been swallowed up by the Chinese. And Lotus goes, no, we haven't. And then you close the historic UK plant. That looks really bad.
Yeah.
So what will happen here, I don't know. But that information is like a week or two old, and it's been fascinating not only to read it, but then to read like all of the UK is like, I'm sorry, what now?
I mean, I heard King Charles even bought an Electra. I mean, he didn't really ditch Bentley. He still got Bentleys in the fleet, of course, but
there's
even
a lot of cars there. Yes,
got the Electra to motor around in a little bit. But I keep thinking about Lotus, and I've asked this before about Jaguar in particular. What is British? What is the Jaguar feel? They have redefined themselves to what they think it is, but I've asked the same question about Lotus. What is the Lotus feel? And it comes always down to a car that is surprisingly lightweight, like shockingly light, and incredible handling. And I also read a recent snippet about how the Corvette factory allows you not only to create your own VIN, if it works, to match another car in your
so
garage.
You could have cars with matching VINs, yes.
But they also allow you, as part of a program, to come in and be part of the engine building process. And it struck me as, I don't think any of us would care if Lotus continues to reinvent themselves. I think that's part of what the brand means, is reinvent yourself every 5 years and announce a new product lineup, for stuff that isn't selling. They could introduce some hands-on thing. And is that part of the answer to make EVs or any car more personal to you and make you want to invest in it? I wonder if other car companies should even consider it. Porsche won't exactly let you in. Ferrari's not going to well, Ferrari, if you offer them enough money, they'll let you in.
Ferrari is connected directly to purse strings.
They are. Yeah. I mean, it always is.
Yes, for sure.
But I think Lotus does have specific defining features and characteristics that make it Lotus. So I don't think if they wanted to partner with any kind of engine manufacturer, Mercedes is a great example, but I don't think any of us would care what parts are on the car if they stuck to those core principles.
I love that you brought that up.
Bring an engine from here, Toyota, Mercedes, we don't care. A gearbox from here, just make it work good. We're cool with all these parts. You've got a lot of Volvo switchgear in your car.
Yes, and it works great.
Nobody cares.
Nope.
It's an awesome car, and it still has a personality and a distinct flavor of its own. It is the Lotus Emira.
Yes, absolutely.
I don't think any of us would care. Adhere to those core principles, and sure, source your parts from wherever. We're good with it. Yes.
You've hit on
It's a Lotus.
Another thing was on my brain. I love that we both wound up the same place, and that is this is a company for all of the fits and starts, for all of the failures, for whatever, that it's small, light, good handling cars. You already said it. That is exactly who they are. And a heavy EV SUV, nobody is looking to Lotus for that. And
42% year-over-year decline in sales.
As I said already, look, nobody
Product mix.
Yeah, outside of China, nobody cares. And in China, you're going to buy a different Chinese EV. I don't think that everything that goes against what Lotus is known is the way forward for the brand, because I don't think Porsche has a reputation for being somewhat reliable.
Yes.
And for much as I love them,
I think.
Lotus does not. So you're buying your family SUV from a company who has questionable reliability that is making it an EV, so now it's heavy, doesn't handle well, doesn't have steering feel, which frankly you could buy from someone else.
Hello, Toyota dealer.
Yes, exactly, or whoever. I mean, go to Porsche. Heck, buy a Maserati because it's no more of a dice roll for that SUV. Let's be honest. Even if let's say the Electra SUV is super reliable, from a brand perception, somebody buying a family SUV that is debating Maserati, Lamborghini Urus, or Electra, that's equivalent on what it's going to cost me to run, on what the reliability is going to be. It's going to be no question. And if they know a little bit, they're going to go, well, the Urus is related to the Porsche Cayenne. That'll be the reliable one.
But people want choice. They want that. They want the availability. It can't just be the same old, same old. So when those brands come around and they offer this kind of choice and they're different brands, like, I've never tried that before. That sounds kind of exciting. And Maserati could use that as their new marketing slogan. Maserati, at least we're one notch better than Lotus. but reliability.
I think the Lotus way forward is to be, and I know we started with Stellantis, but to be a subsidiary of whatever their larger company is, and Geely is working right now, okay? But let them be what they are. And my point here is they need to make, this is their product now, a lightweight sports car and a good handling rear-wheel drive four-door sedan. Not an EV sedan.
Yeah.
The number of people that write to us for this podcast that want a 3 Series, and I'm talking like 3 Series from the year 2000, a 3 Series sized, mid-sized sedan that is rear-wheel drive with good handling, we get those emails constantly. Now, I realize we're talking to an enthusiast audience, but if Lotus made a E90 3 Series size, so mid-2000 3 Series size rear-wheel drive sedan with good styling, with a manual option, that would sell. You would buy that from Lotus. You're not going to buy your SUV. You're not going to buy your EV sedan.
No.
Other people, go buy a Tesla Model Plaid. If you want a fast, sleek-looking EV sedan, just buy that and call it a day, okay? No, don't go over to Lotus. And I love Lotus, but don't go over to Lotus. Seriously.
Don't go over to Lotus.
I love the brand, but seriously, if they were making, and I know this is kind of tangential, but the number of you that wish there was a GR86 in 4-door is almost universal. Where's that from Lotus? That just slightly larger than that. We're talking late 90s M3 size 4-door rear-wheel drive with Lotus handling. That would sell. Lotus needs to be Morgan or MG or whatever, where they make a thing they make, and now we're done. They can't be every brand because their reputation isn't broad enough, their reliability reputation isn't good enough, and if you're just making Chinese EVs, buy something else.
And the Chinese EVs, they already got that covered.
Yes, for sure. I mean, and I love the brand, and I hope that the Emira is not the last of the breed. I really, really love mine. We drove it like crazy this last weekend.
They're going to milk that forever. There will be the Emira GT and the Emira GTS.
But
and the Emira
I'm just saying
GT4
last of the breed as far as them making what Lotus is known for with a gasoline engine. And I don't mind hybridization either. But clearly the market is not saying EVs in my sports car.
Right.
The market doesn't want that.
We should V8 swap an Emira.
Well,
that's a whole market. Remember, they did that with the Esprit.
You bring that up because there's been a discussion actually from, and this is actually the last thought I had, there's been a discussion from the leader of Geely and Lotus that the V6 in my car, which is the 3.5-liter Toyota V6 that's been in many other things, including the Camry, and is awesome with the supercharger. Love the supercharger whine. Anybody that was in my car in the last few days, we had the Utah Park City Drive days, and people loved it. But that engine, again, back to standards, doesn't pass the new EU emission standards, which is why they had trouble actually classifying it here as well. So they're going to have to kill that engine and lean into something else. The AMG is going to work. Now, keep in mind, that's an engine Toyota's no longer making for the same reason. So that engine, they're going to have to replace it.
Although
so
now I'm reading about the loosening of the CAFE standards.
We'll see.
So now there's
we'll
that.
See.
They could still make it for different regions.
It's a whole thing.
They need the Hethel plant.
It's all exactly.
They've got different regions.
But that's gotten the discussion happening at Geely about should we put a V8 in the back of the Emira, and then what V8 would pass standards. And of course, one of the ones that's come up is the 4-liter bi-turbo Mercedes motor because oh my gosh,
yes.
But manual transmission matters in this car.
Yes.
So what do? I'm very curious to see, as you've already said, look at the Esprit. Look at the list of the Esprit from when it was the James Bond submarine car to when they finished selling it in the mid-2000s. I loved every generation, but every 2 or 3 years it got a different engine.
They've practically copied that with the Emira because it was originally a 4-cylinder. Guess what? They've got the Mercedes 4-cylinder.
Yep.
It's almost a carbon copy of what they want to do. It's in their DNA.
Yeah.
They kind of want to be pushed into shoving a V8 into the back of that thing and figuring it out.
I agree.
Okay, it weighs a little more, but V8.
But don't you want it? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I hope that that's where this goes, and I hope there is a car behind the Emira that also has a gasoline motor, and I think Lotus is in a rare spot where they need to be Lotus, just that, and not try to be anything else.
That is the lesson. And also bring back Lotus Engineering. They probably still have it around.
They still have. No, that's why the Emira is as good as it is, and that's why they still do. Under the radar, this is the thing you don't realize. The number of cars that have been touched by Lotus.
Yes.
But most of those car makers in the 90s, you could put the handling by Lotus badge.
That's what I'm talking about.
That rarely happens now. They keep it under wraps, but there's a lot of stuff going on with Lotus
That
Engineering.
hallowed badge.
Yep.
Handling by Lotus, engineering by Lotus, anything by Lotus, that's what car companies want. They have the DNA and the recipe in spades more than any other car manufacturer.
It's amazing, yeah.
When you talk about a particular car brand, like quick, what is Audi known for? Quattro. What is BMW known for? What is Hyundai known for? Quick, go. Just right off the top of your head. When we come to Lotus, lightweight. Handling.
You're right. It's totally right.
Hallowed badge. It's all come around.
So let's make a 6,000-pound EV with no steering feel. Lotus.
Dodge.
Everyone makes that. Lotus should not. Griot's Garage is our official car care partner and one of our very first sponsors for the show. They don't just make great car care products, they want you to get out and drive your car.
Griot's is a family-owned company, and they've been a part of every one of our road trips. We always take speed shine on every shoot, helping us spot clean cars at a moment's notice.
Their foaming glass cleaner is the quickest and best way we've ever found to get windows clean before a big day of driving. And they're always releasing new and improved products like their updated Wash Bucket 2.
Plus, all of Griot's liquid products are 100% guaranteed and made right here in the USA. The Griot's people are always happy to answer any questions to make sure you get the right product and the right results.
So get the best quality car care products out there from a company that has always supported this show. Our audience can always get at least 10% off by using the code DRIVER10 at griotsgarage.com.
Great car debate for today. The first one is from Paul in Toronto, who is moving to Switzerland for 3 years.
Wow.
Paul, thank you for writing. Really appreciate it. He is a longtime listener and viewer. He writes this as he watches episode 1003 on YouTube.
Very cool.
He discovered our content on YouTube many years ago, started listening to the podcast in the 60s. Wow.
Not the 1960s, the episode 60s. We haven't been around that long. I wanted to clarify that, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, his company is moving Paul to Switzerland for 3 years. So he writes, yay, twisty mountain roads, a sweet reprieve from the flat grids of Toronto, but ridiculous Swiss prices for cars. So here's his debate. He needs to buy one family car, and up to six fun cars for himself. Now, I must add this disclaimer because as the email goes on, he means 6 over a period of time, not 6 up front. It's not 7 cars. When we move to Switzerland, I'm buying 7 cars.
Well,
it's going to be over the period of time.
Yeah. As I read this, it develops. The other reason for potentially 6 cars is he's up for a family car for 3 years, and he moves through fun cars every 6 months or so for the 3 years and gets us to that many cars. Or let's do 3 family cars, 1 per year, and 3 fun cars, 1 per year. We're talking about up to 6 potential cars for his 3 years there. He wants to have new life experience. I mean, Switzerland's going to be an amazing new life experience anyway, Paul, and I'm very excited for you. But yeah, I'm buying 6 cars, and I went, wait, we're doing what? And then as I read it, I was like, okay, we're not like running out buying 6 cars. It's just we're looking for potentially
and
as
the 7th
many
family.
6 cars of life experience while we're there. Yes.
All right. Well, Paul's had the disease from about the age of 3. I think that's most of us.
Yes, for sure.
His mother claims he could name all the cars on the road. He's not sure if that's true, but he's never really indulged himself as practicality has always won out. I feel like that is a common thread when people write to us.
Yes.
Practicality has been part of the life for so long, they're about to throw caution to the wind.
Yep. Love it.
Paul grew up in a very modest household, no flashy cars in his history, most notably a Plymouth Reliant wagon, which left him with a lifelong hate of anything Chrysler and, by extension, Stellantis.
It all comes back around. We started with Stellantis. We're there again. I like it.
In college, he was lucky enough to get a hand-me-down 89 Olds Cutlass Sierra. He considers that his first car, and he enters into an era of car despair. He names so many cars that he's had. He tells us about the used Honda Civic SI manual that he had. He talks about the 94 Mazda 626 V6 manual that the salesperson told him it handled like an Audi A4, and that sold him.
It sold him. He was not sure that was true. Yeah, there's been a lot of bizarre cars in his lineup. And here's the thing. For a minute, it was looking pretty cool. His girlfriend that then became his wife had a year 2000 Golf GTI VR6 manual. And he was like, this is amazing. Turns out it was her ex-boyfriend's recommendation. She didn't really like cars, but she got that anyway. And then when they got together and she became his minister of finance with kids and mortgage and everything, the list of cars after that is vanilla family cars. And what's terrifying is how many of them are Outbacks.
5? I count 5.
1, 3, 4, 5, 6. I get 6. Yeah, because there's a lot.
Because he still has another one right
because
now.
Currently, that was the thing. We ended up with another one. After all of this, there's so much. And here's the thing. At one point, he got a big promotion in his life, thank you. Still corporate, but now has a car allowance instead of cars being provided. By the way, the reason for 4 Outbacks in a row is because that was on the list of a potential company car. He had 4
so there you go.
Outbacks in a row. I understand why that happens, but this is why this was boring. You got a Mazda CX-9, your first time to have a turbo. You actually loved it when you had your car allowance. Tried a Volkswagen Atlas. Only were able to get the 2-liter turbo. It wasn't nearly good enough. Then you wound up in an Audi Q7, family car, still paid for with the car allowance. You actually think it's got good power and good handling, and then you kind of back out and go, but that's, based on my life experience, maybe not. But you've just gotten into, in the last few years, you got your wife a 2020 Kia Telluride, based a little bit on our show, and she loves it. So then you had the moment that I'm facing. First child about to turn 16, and he thought, an excuse for a 3rd car. That would be awesome. What can I get that would be inexpensive that the kids could learn on? And you talked yourself into some crazy ideas. You said Audi S8. I mean, wow, okay. Maybe an old BMW M3. Yikes. But then while you're debating a crazy car you could buy that the kids could learn on, your father-in-law realized it was time for him to stop driving, and he had a car that he was able to give to your son to drive, and wait for it. You probably see it coming. 2018 Subaru Outback.
That was the 6th Outback that I didn't count.
6 of them. Yeah. Okay. Got it.
He says this is a long-winded way to get to the debate, but he is moving to Switzerland with his wife, 2 of his 3 kids, plus the family dog, Bruce. His kids are adult-sized teens, and they are taller people. He's got the same proportions as me.
As we do, essentially. Yeah, he's tall. Yeah.
6'3". I'm wondering if he means shorter torso, longer legs, necessarily.
Either way, tall people.
Not
that's the
quite
key
sure.
thing, yeah.
About the only car that all of the family members don't complain about being in is the second row of the Telluride. No one wants to sit behind Paul. So he needs one vehicle for family duties, road trips, skiing, mountain biking. The dog Bruce usually takes shotgun, will reluctantly get relegated to the back seat, and then will concede sitting in the far back.
Yes. Doesn't like the hatch,
that.
but will do it if it. I'm wondering, is your dog one of those dogs that whines when it's in the place it doesn't want to be at? Does it whine the whole car ride? Is that why Bruce sits up front? Yeah, anyway.
Paul is also a believer in not trying to replicate his North American lifestyle in Europe.
I think that's key.
Absolutely, but rather embracing it and living like Europeans, which means he's open to a diesel station wagon.
I mean, really, the only reason we do this podcast, Paul, is so people will say they're open to a diesel station wagon. I mean, that's really, we've accomplished it now. We're done. It's excellent.
He said he'll take any other suggestions as long as they're all-wheel drive, can fit all the gear and family members. And something new enough to have CarPlay. It'd be great if it was something fun and reliable too. I'm so excited. I think I have the car for you.
Oh, good. I'm looking forward to it.
I think I've got it.
Good. Excellent.
This will be the first time he can feel like he can be more self-centered in the car choice for him, though. We'll choose the family car.
Yes.
And then the car for Paul needs to commute 25 minutes to work and be driven for fun on the weekends. The Nürburgring is only 6.5 hours away. Only 6.5 hours away.
Yes.
It's a bit of a trek.
Yep.
You might want to
But you can
get
do
a
a
hotel
weekend.
room.
You can do a weekend. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. Don't drive and drive back. Just go out there for the weekend, for sure. Yeah.
You should take your own car on it. Absolutely. That way you can get the sticker on the back and, have the pride
for sure.
of driving
Absolutely.
your own car. He's not well versed in the European cars that we don't get in North America, so he needs some help. He's thinking he could try a different car every year for the 3 years he's supposed to be there, or maybe a summer and winter car every year. So that's why he's saying at least the family car and then up to 6 cars.
Up to 6 others. Yes.
Please recommend 2 to 3 cars and how a guy whose standard of high performance is set by an Audi Q7 should ease into fun car ownership. Does he start with a hot hatch and work his way up to Cayman ownership? Or does he go straight for the Lotus Elise?
That's probably a bit too far. Yeah.
He writes that he's a pretty senior guy in a global head office, so he can't go too boy racer, so nothing with a giant wing, maybe
Just
like
a small wing, just a winglet.
Exactly.
Winglets are fine, yeah.
But the fun car must be a manual, ideally rear wheel or all-wheel drive. He writes the Swiss are highly militant on speeding, so power is less important than handling. Not too worried about reliability or efficiency. He's never had a convertible and would be open to it, but he knows hardtops handle better. Sure, but I wouldn't let that be the
I would never shy you
factor.
away from a convertible because of handling. I wouldn't do it, yeah.
He's open to a two-seater, so that means he will have to choose between his wife and the dog.
Yeah, one of them is going, but not both, yes.
Please, no EVs, no Stellantarian products, no Stellantis. Nothing that we wouldn't fit into comfortably, and he is considering Audi S5 V8, BMW Z4, Cayman, Boxster, 911, Elise, Mini Cooper S, Golf R, GTI, GR86, all those fun cars. GR86, though, that's too boy racer, and if you're the senior manager in a global head office, they'll be like, is that your son's car?
Yeah, and a lot of these cars you could get here, even though I've done some of them, but a lot of them you can get here. I really was thinking about let's embrace this European thing. It's the thing I like about this the most, Paul, is that you want to embrace the European way of life. And I'm going to run through the family cars real quick because I have a couple that I think you haven't thought of that I'm very excited to show you. And then I'm actually going to show you my wild card and talk about it. You may have the same wild card I do, and then we'll get into fun cars in a minute. But you know what you need to do is you need to buy, Paul, the BMWs we don't get here, a 3 Series Touring or a 5 Series Touring. I mean, that they are fantastic. They're available. They're not unique over there, but they're hugely unique to us. We don't get them. So buy yourself, even if you can do M3 or M5 touring, I mean, how high up the food chain do you want to go? Wagons are the right size. What you don't realize when you live here is that a 7-seat SUV here is a house in Europe. They're huge. The ones that we're like, that one's not that big. I mean, I'm not talking Suburbans. I'm talking like your Telluride in Europe feels like a really big vehicle in some of those towns. So a wagon, and I'm not saying that the 5 Series wagon is small because it's not, but the wagons, because of the lower ride height and all that, they just work better. You're not driving a billboard around. It seems, like that's a large car. And we think if it's not a big, lifted, stupid thing, it can't possibly be big enough.
What do you drive? Big, lifted, stupid thing.
Seriously. So 3 or 5 Series wagon. I thought of the Genesis G70 wagon. that we don't get here.
Dang it, you took
Oh,
mine.
I'm sorry. I also thought of the Skoda Octavia wagon, another forbidden fruit that is solid. That is essentially an Audi variant, but we drove it and we actually really liked it. Those were my family cars. I have a wild card, but those are my normal family cars.
Okay, I am going to back your play here. Paul, the car that I think you should go consider is the G70 shooting brake.
It's a great looking car.
It's superb, and you can get it with the 2-liter that is 240 horsepower, I think about 260 pound-feet of torque out of the 2-liter engine, all-wheel drive. It's got the hatch. We don't get it here. We really love how the G70 drives, superb, and it's just luxurious enough.
Yes, agreed.
It's not too over the top. It's not too ostentatious. If you drove that to work, I think everybody would say smart choice.
Sure.
Wow.
Yeah, that's fine. Nothing
Educated, smart, savvy choice. Who are you again? I think this is absolutely your car. Look at that.
It's great looking. We see them in the rental fleets when we go to Frankfurt every year, and we just kind of walk around it. We just get distracted. We're there to rent a van to take people with us on the pilgrimage trip, and we just walk around the G70 every single. And it's always the base model, but it's the base wagon that we don't get. We're like, this is so cool.
It's so cool looking.
Yeah.
It stands out. Although I will back your diesel station wagon. Anything, pick a Seat, pick a Skoda, Octavia, anything. Go watch the Top Gear reviews on those because we don't get them here and haven't really had a chance to drive them. But I recommend all of those wagons. They're all, I think Top Gear gave them all about 8 out of 10s for all the Seat, the Skoda, the wagons. They're good. It's just that fussy Volkswagen buttonless interface that prevents them from getting really high marks. But if that's it, you're only there 3 years and you'll trade it out for an RS6 or the new M5 Touring. I'm going to sell one of these. One day. Somebody's going to buy an M5 Touring because they heard it here on the show. Maybe you'll work your way there. Start with the Genesis G70 shooting brake. What a fantastic car.
It's very cool.
I even looked up Genesis of Switzerland shooting brake.
Awesome. I love it.
Yes.
I love it. I have a wild card that I'm kind of excited about, and I'm kind of surprised you didn't bring it up. But it is my wild card family car, and it is ridiculous. It's utterly ridiculous, but we were just in it recently, and that is this guy. It is the Cupra with the 5-cylinder. That is the Cupra Golf R rebadged thing called the Formentor. It is, look, the Golf has surprisingly big back seats. It's not a huge hatch, but surprisingly big back seats. This is the right-sized SUV for Europe because it's essentially a Golf, okay? But it's slightly lifted. It has this very angry SUV look. It has the 5-cylinder. You can get it even in EV. You can get it in small horsepower, normal gasoline motors. But this is the 5-cylinder out of the RS3. So it has that engine, it has that power,
super cool,
which makes it super fun in an SUV-ish package with a really big back seat because it's based on a Golf. This is my wild card family car because I suspect this is significantly smaller than what you're looking at. But in Europe, I'm like, you know what? This might work.
Super cool.
I'm not sure where Bruce goes. Maybe Bruce does have to go in the hatch. But we had this when we were in Germany this last year. Tom brought it out. Tom Homanzik, who's done pieces for us. In fact, years ago, you and I did a 3-man review.
We did
of a Skoda Octavia wagon. This is probably 5-6 years ago. It was you and me and Tom. That was quite an edit.
Super cool.
That was very fun. So Tom brought this because he knew we hadn't been in it yet, and we were incredibly impressed. So I think that is your wild card family car. But then I thought about fun cars for you, and I thought of I'm trying to stay away from stuff we get because yes, absolutely, Paul. Buy a Boxster, be happy. You should have that experience while you're over there. I think you should drive a Boxster because it is so very European, even though we get it here. Buy it, take it all over Germany, take it all over Switzerland. A Boxster with the top down would be an amazing experience, even though it's not a unique car to Europe. But you know what is this guy, the i30N from Hyundai.
Oh, the i30.
The i30N is essentially the Elantra in hatchback form, and you have manual transmission, front-wheel drive, great dynamics. The reason I bring this up is because every year when we go to Germany and we rent cars from RSR, somebody will rent the i30N because it is in the lower part of the price bracket for the trip. And they come in going, well, I got the i30. And then we talk to them as soon as they get out of it, and they're like, that car's amazing.
Minds are blown.
They're just like,
Yes.
I got it because I think it'll be enough. And then they're just wowed by it. And what ends up happening when we get to our road tour day is the people that rented the big stuff try the i30N because like, why is this so good? And they get out of it going, that thing's great.
I'm questioning my choices.
Seriously, and they rented the big stuff.
Yeah.
So the i30N for like a daily commute car. Now you can get it in this cool blue, but you can also get it in normal colors. You can get it in a silver, I think. You can get it in a black. So this can be made subtle, even though I love the cool blue of it. So if this is your car you're going to commute in and it isn't in a bright color, nobody's going to look twice. But you're going to have fun, Paul. That's what I really like about this. So this is my main one for you, but I have one other one that I can't ignore because you're in Europe.
Okay.
And I have to bring it up.
I'm wondering.
Probably the same one you thought of.
Yeah.
Alpine A110.
Yeah.
You're over there in Europe. They have Alpines. My point is,
Yes.
we're here in the U.S.,
Yes.
unable to drive Alpine A110s every day, unable to buy them, and you're going to be in Switzerland, and they're just for sale.
They're just for sale.
They're out there. You could just go buy one. I'm just saying. If you're over there having a European experience, even if you don't have it for long, because I know that's part of the fun for you on this whole discussion, Paul, go get yourself an Alpine A110.
Oh, yes.
Yes, please.
I will give you my first choice for your fun car, Paul, and that is something we just recently drove against the ND3 Miata. That is the Z4, the new Z4 M40i manual, 382 horsepower, which is totally sandbagging on the power.
Yeah.
369 pound-feet of torque. That is also, we think it's way more. But look at this thing. It's sophisticated. And to your point, even though we get it in North America, it just seems different. When you're in Germany, it just seems more European. It just seems appropriate. It just seems like it fits even better. Ours was $77,000. I went and looked at the Monroney again. It was $77,000, which means when you drive this to work, it's going to be a very classy, sophisticated choice, a high-end luxury car manufacturer in Europe, BMW. Oh, the Z4. Oh, it's a bit of a sports car, but it's not so hardcore. That it seems unusable or too exotic-like. Oh, but it's manual. I mean, in Europe, they get a whole lot more manual, so it's not really a surprise. But
I think this is just a nice executive's car.
Exactly right.
It's not a crazy executive's car.
It's not crazy, but I also think you can take this bombing on the Autobahn. You can also take it to the ring and successfully drive it. And just the small ring sticker on the back window or the back bumper, just the small one.
Yeah, love it.
And so executives, your fellow coworkers will see this and be like, wow, classy, sophisticated, sports car, not too over the top, not the hottest. It's not the hottest 911. You're not rocking a Turbo S. 911, something like that. It's sophisticated choice. But I am in full agreement with Todd. We didn't just finally drive an Alpine A110. We got to drive one in North America, thanks to our friend Ben, who watches the show. He's in France. He doesn't live too far from Le Mans, actually. And we drove that car, not one like it. We drove it. It just came out on our original channel. It is the Z06 versus Alpine A110 GT. This isn't even the hot version, 250 horsepower. The GT, he did some suspension upgrades, 7-speed GT DCT. What a superb car.
Excellent.
Alpine A110s are for sale.
They're for sale, and it's a European car, European experience. You're in Switzerland. Buy an Alpine A110. I think it's amazing, and I actually have a friend currently who lives in Switzerland, and he always texts me. I get WhatsApp from him randomly about some crazy car he's seen, because Switzerland may be draconian with keeping your speeds down, but they buy the big stuff. He sees every high-end car you can imagine with super crazy power, all the big V12s, all the big expense. I get like a constant car show feed from him because he takes his kids to school, and a lot of the kids that come to school come in very high-end stuff. He's like, I saw this today. So Switzerland likes their high-end cars, even if they don't get to drive them very fast. But come on, Alpine A110 is the answer, I think.
New, used, we think you should rock this car. It's just so delightful to drive. Watch our review on that. Hopefully that'll give you a little bit of a taste as to what we experienced in comparison to something that is very much North American and in the American market. It is two completely different cars, but there is a through line there. So watch that review. Wishing you luck on G70 shooting brake shopping and Alpine A110 hunting.
Cars for the family and Bruce. It's good. It's good stuff.
Write to us, everydaydrivertv@gmail.com, Topic Tuesdays, Car Conclusions, and Alpine A110 GTs.
Second car debate is from Andy, writing in from Sydney, Australia. We love hearing from down under. They actually write to us often. We have a pretty big contingency of an audience down in Australia, and I know what you're saying. We should come down there, and yes, we should.
We need to, yes.
But it is on the list, but we'll figure it out at some point. But anyway, Andy's writing in with that pivotal thing that happens. We've had many of you write in. He says, fairly common question, and he's right. He has had all kinds of fun cars, but child number 2 is on the way.
Congratulations, Andy.
Which means
That's
it's very
awesome.
cool. Which means that his beloved 1998 Mitsubishi Evo 5, we talk about cars we didn't get here, the Evo 5 will be on the market very soon because he's realizing that is not a car for a dad who needs to take 2 kids around. So he is selling that one, and it is a bummer for him, but he's sitting here going, I need something that will take modern baby seats, rear-facing child seats, that actually will plug in properly. His wife has a BMW X3 M40i. Does most of the family work, but if that car goes somewhere and the kids need to do anything in another car, that's what we're shopping for. So he has gotten rid of, or is getting rid of that Mitsubishi, and he's headed down to what does an enthusiast dad drive, which is a question we get a lot.
Thank you for writing, Andy. Sure, appreciate it. I love that you're pretty much considering everything, anything and everything. He lists F80 M3s, E90 M3s, B7 generation RS4s, B8 generation RS4s, ISF, Giulia Quadrifolios. He said a B7 RS4 wagon would be the perfect option because he'd still love to keep a manual, which is so rare.
Sure.
But they're so rare in Australia. As of his email, there's none for sale in the country.
Nationwide, yes.
Incredible. He says our days of owning performance-oriented driver-focused cars are nearing an end, so he does have a preference to own something that's more old school, like a V8. He has no issues with fuel efficiency or MPG, as we say on the other side of the world. Daily ride comfort does not concern him too much, as the drivability, performance, enjoyment, that takes priority.
Okay, I like it.
He said, budget-wise, the older cars are a lower purchase price, but he would use the funds saved for more preventative maintenance and upgrades expected along the way.
Good.
Andy only has garage space for 2 cars. He refuses to have even one of his cars parked outside. It would have been a dream to hold the Evo as the track car and an additional family car in the mix, but he says he's owned predominantly Japanese performance cars, so the switch to European for a change is what's leading him to all of these options.
Okay.
They get the Evo 9 wagons as an import, and that would have been an easy choice if he wanted to stay with Japanese cars. But since we had such hugely positive reviews on the Giulia, he is now actually wondering if it is truly head and shoulders above the rest, and he would stretch his budget but can't put a price on getting the best option.
Okay.
So, Andy, I do have choices for you. I am excited to share here. Let's see. I'm going to pull those up on photos here, and I'm going to start. You know what? I'm going to start in reverse order.
Okay.
There we go. Simply because I want you to just entertain the thought. Everything that I'm offering to you is a V8,
Okay.
the Lexus IS 500, F Sport with the V8, not offered in manual. The problem is when I went looking in Australia, they're like $119,000.
I was going to say they're probably really expensive, aren't they? Yeah.
They're really expensive, but I just wanted to tease you because I did love your choice on the list of the E90 M3 with that fantastic 414 horsepower V8.
It's a great engine and a great version of that car, yeah.
Unbelievable car, but I just want to remind you, Andy, that you're in Australia, and if we were to say the Chevy SS here, it's the Holden Commodore VF there. Go get yourself the Holden Commodore V8 family car. I like the BMW E90 M3, but I could justify it as, hey, 2 BMWs in the garage, or I could say, you know what, 2 BMWs in the garage. Maybe go for the Holden Commodore. I bet these are in your price range. And what I like about them is they're more ubiquitous there. So parts, service, everything about it. Holden Commodore, family vehicle, kids in the back, ISOFIX, burnouts, V8. This is your car. This is what I'm thinking.
This is funny because I want to step to the side really quickly, Andy, and say, yes, I do like the Giulia just that much. It is good in 4-cylinder turbo. It's good like that. It's the way you want it as a quadrifolio. I don't know that that's your budget. I don't know that that's where we are. But it's another one of those moments where Paul and I just decided to kind of go the same place, but different, because did you realize that the Holden Commodore comes as a wagon?
Oh, see, there we go.
It comes as a wagon. We didn't get an SS wagon. It comes as a wagon. Holden Commodore, I think, is the play, even if you don't do it for very long. And part of me honestly wonders, Andy, if you're going, I don't want anything that's Australian. Maybe that's where you're at. Maybe you want something, but you're asking for, you think your enthusiast days are done. You're asking for something V8 and manual. And I'm sitting here just like you are, Paul, going, that exists, made locally, in variants like this wagon we didn't even get. And the greatest thing about the SS, or in your case, the Holden Commodore, is that it drives. They joked about it in the U.S. as being the four-door Corvette, and I thought that was a ridiculous marketing ploy until I drove it and went, almost. Here's the thing: the Chevy SS or Holden Commodore is the four-door Corvette in the same way that the Panamera is the four-door 911. You can see it from there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Great big V8, available in manual, available in wagon. This is your hot dad car. If you're going to step away from smaller things, get into this with the big V8. You're bound to find them there. It's so funny you said it as well, because I thought this was the beginning and the end of the discussion to go with the Commodore. It's sitting right there, probably locally. If you're going to look it up, here's the thing. You can't find the Evo wagon that you want, or you can't find the RS4 wagon that you want. I bet you can find pages of these. That's where you go.
I love it. Andy, thank you for writing. All right. Are you good? Anything
good.
more? That's the car?
I'm right there with you, man. Totally.
Andy, sure appreciate your writing. Thank you for your patronage over the years. Hope you're well. Congratulations on your growing family.
For sure.
Send photos of the new Holden Commodore that you get.
That's where we're going.
Andrew writes to us with his first car conclusion here, podcast episode 498.
Wow.
The more things change, the more they stay the same is the theme. He said back in 2020, he was starting college, coming up on a major milestone podcast episode and setting up a live stream. That's right. He was trying to figure out how to get into autocross, and they had a Honda Odyssey for road trips and daily dog walks.
So that was 5 years ago. We were headed up to 500 episodes. And now in 2025, he's in grad school. We just had our 1000th podcast, and he's trying to figure out what he should do to get into the next stage of his car purchases. And they have a different and soon to be sold Honda Odyssey. So things are the same, but things are different. I love it. That's what brings us around to the fact that originally we recommended back in 2020 that his father get either a Volkswagen GTI or a Focus ST. And Andy was excited because Andrew said, you know what? He'll get to drive it too. His mom is mortified anytime he drives. 5 years ago now, his mom's just mortified, and they were looking at an actual fun car. So anyway, in May of 2025, he bought a 2022, his dad did, Volkswagen GTI after looking at the Integra A-Spec and the Honda Civic Type R. But they took delivery of what Andrew has nicknamed as the minivan, is the GTI. Took it home, and they're quite happy about it. But he even sent a photo of his dad in the car. It's the car that they never really thought they'd have, but that is the fun car that Dad ended up with, and they're very, very excited. Also, he has in the background of the photo his own 1998 Lexus named Lexi.
Congratulations. Fantastic. I love it. Thank you for writing. Our next conclusion comes from Benjamin R., who is a new Volvo enthusiast.
Okay.
Benjamin's an 18-year-old kid that just recently graduated from high school in Southern Illinois. He is a military kid, so moving every 3 years is normal, which led him to go to college at the University of Idaho for ROTC to be a pilot in the Air Force.
Ooh, that's cool.
He's had car love since he was a little kid, albeit in a family of car-indifferent people.
I hear you.
When he got his license, he was given the previous family runabout of an 04 GMC Yukon with 190,000 miles.
At the time it was given to him. Oh, my gosh.
He demanded a tire upgrade to all seasons, new wheels to replace the corroded stock wheels, which completely changed the look of the car. He writes this past winter gave him some reliability issues, which led to he and his family considering a new vehicle for him to take to college. He said he wanted something engaging, reliable, enough space to haul friends. With a budget of $10,000, Paul limiter equivalent of $12,000. He's always had a love for European cars, which initially led him to BMW. His grandfather had a mint E92 335i.
Ooh, very cool.
So he looked at American cars like Fiesta STs, Focuses, other SUVs, and that led him to Volvo.
Okay, didn't see this coming, but it's good.
After weeks of watching many different models to be sold, he settled on trying to find a P3 Volvo S80. Reasonably powerful, very comfortable mid-size sedan. That V8 seemed enticing with its perfect-sounding Yamaha engine. Bad fuel economy didn't really jive with him, and a 28-hour drive home would be a bank breaker every time.
Yes, don't do that in one stint, by the way. Break that 28 hours up. Anyway, moving on, yeah.
Agreed. Well, that led him to find a 2010 Volvo S80 T6 with just under 83,000 miles, only 4 hours north in Chicago. When he went up to potentially buy it, he was blown away by the cleanliness, the lifelong servicing at dealerships, one owner vehicle, and the previous owner traded in to get an Outback. So that to an Outback.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, I understand it was older, but okay. All right. But the great thing is he got a deal on this with an even bigger discount because of military, and he walked out the door with this 2010 Volvo. Remember, his budget was $10,000. He got it for $8,700.
That's
and he
fantastic.
is absolutely in love. He said he cannot understate how much he likes this car. Plush Volvo leather seats, incredibly comfortable, good turbo power, all-wheel drive for treacherous snowfall in northern Idaho. He said, yes, he'll put winter tires on it and all. I have to say, the difference between beat-down Yukon, which is cool in its own right, and $8,700 meticulously maintained Volvo is profound. I'm not surprised. You're going to love this on road trips. That's going to be great for sawing that 28 hours worth of road trip down. That's going to be good.
It is excellent. And plus you're finding Volvo. I love that you kind of got a bigger car and you weren't thinking just sports car, small, lightweight. You were thinking something larger, more luxurious. And I think that exists in all of us car enthusiasts too. That part of us exists.
Yes.
He's feeding that too.
I didn't realize it till I bought a Phaeton, but you can haul all your buddies around there and be like, this is an awfully nice car. What'd you pay again? $8,700 is the answer. That's amazing.
Before we get to audience questions, thank you for writing to us. I wanted to fill out a section that we have started called Did You See This?
Okay.
And I think all of you know my love for furniture, good furniture, actually really high-end furniture.
Very, very expensive furniture. I
really
could probably
like this.
furnish a house for the cost of one of the pieces of the things you really want.
I
I don't even know those pieces exist. Yeah.
I get there slowly, but I want a house full of incredibly different pieces that all somehow have a through line, and everything is an interesting story. I want that. I want to just fill my house with amazing artwork. So if you haven't seen this, I wanted to bring this to your attention. Did you see this table from Discommon.com? There is Discommon, the website, and they are an industrial design studio run by founded by three friends, and Discommon Goods is the place where you can purchase a lot of their goods, and they're so incredibly well thought out. The founder actually is quoted as having an allergy to mediocrity. I find that fantastic.
This is that part of the internet where I don't ever get there until I talk to you, and then I find myself in crazy places. Keep going.
So what you are looking at is a table that combines my love for furniture with my love for cars. And this particular piece is a CNC'd aluminum table with the car CNC'd rising up out of the surface of the table.
That is crazy.
Fully aluminum table. But guess what? They also offer it in wood, in walnut. Looks like walnut here.
That looks incredible in
CNC'd.
wood.
And so whatever kind of car that you could commission this, you can buy what they have.
Well, that was my
Some of
question.
them-
Is it always the same kind of car?
No, they can
really?
do. I've seen
Interesting. All right.
GT40s, I've seen Ferraris, I've seen, I think, some Porsches, but half of the car, it looks like it's rising up out of the table, like the floor in Terminator 2, you know, when the
that's a
T2
great
was
description. That's very
was the
right.
sheriff
Yep.
behind the vending machine and he rose up out of the floor. It's like it stopped right in the middle, and frozen in time is this car rising out of a piece of furniture, out of a table. I have never seen anything like this, and it perfectly encapsulates my love for furniture, a beautiful table,
I have to agree.
beautiful materials, and cars all together. Discommon Goods, go to art because it is furniture that is considered art, and you can go to the website there and find something. You can order a bespoke piece. They do a version of the Concorde out of wood.
I'm seeing that on here. It's crazy.
Spectacular, and you never knew that you wanted just an object and were willing to pay a lot of money just simply for an object. that makes you happy and it's delightful to look at and you just want to live with it. It's so beautiful. That's what furniture is to me. That's what cars are to me.
That's what cars are to all of us, for sure. Yeah.
This
that's funny. That's
perfectly encapsulates. I love the aluminum table because it's such a conversation piece.
I have to say,
you've gotten to the price, haven't you?
I've just this minute found the price, and we cannot walk away without the price. They begin at $21,000. And it goes
it's
to
no
at least
money.
It's going to go to at least $24,000 for the full aluminum one, but it's serious inquiries only, and you have to actually call them and commission it. Mm-hmm. So I would like to acknowledge
they probably want your money before they start the work.
Oh, I'm certain. I'd like to acknowledge that a nice car could be bought for the price of this table. Though I have to admit to you, Paul, this is the kind of table that you would have in your house, your house specifically, that would look phenomenal.
I would have
It's just. Table. That is a frightening amount of money for something that is, I will admit, incredibly cool.
Incredibly cool that you can't drive, but you can look at and you can appreciate.
And
you can share, just like you can share a car with friends.
Can you PPF this table? How do you protect this table? You know, the level of coasters you would have around your house if you had this table in wood, defending this table.
Although, consider our preciousness discussion, and especially either wood or aluminum. A dish gets set down, or a glass, or moisture, material, something is spilled, food.
On your $24,000 table.
I know that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. But an anodized aluminum piece like this, eventually the anodization, the anodized part would rub off with enough use. But what I love about furniture is it develops patina over time. The more you use a thing, it develops this patina. That does happen to cars, but cars you need to actually take care of. Well, you need to take care of furniture too, but they're so the same in my mind.
I see it.
There's
don't be precious with your table either. Yeah.
Some spots where, you know what, we've had so many great meals at this table and my friend's over and there's some wear and tear in various items and you've played cards or poker or
just
something.
Imagining the first dent in your $20-something thousand bespoke table.
I know
that everybody's going to bed angry. I'm just saying, the entire family and everybody that came over that night, everybody's feeling bad about themselves. But it is a really cool looking table, and
gorgeous.
I had not seen it. I'm really glad you brought it up.
Desperately
really
want
great.
one. So if you haven't seen it, Discommon Goods is where you can buy it, and then discommon.com is the design studio itself. Amazing. Allergy to mediocrity. That just resonates like crazy
really
with
good.
me.
We have a great question that came up that's a little bit difficult, and that was Evan's writing in and saying, looking at the 5 major German auto brands, BMW, Mercedes, Porsche, BMW, and Audi, if you could erase one from existence, all of its history, everything it did, erase one from existence, which would it be? And the problem is you go back historically, each of these brands has had like a watershed moment where they made a big impression on all the automakers around them. So that is the real problem here. But I think the one I'm removing, to my surprise, is Audi.
Okay.
Now there's some silver arrow moments early on that would definitely change the way cars developed if Audi wasn't around. And then you've got Quattro that changes rally, and then you've got their years where they really conquered Le Mans with diesel. So there's definitely things that we would miss. But current cars right now, Audi exists, but Audi's not getting a lot of news. Audi's not moonshotting anything. I mean, they did with the R8, you could say, but the R8 was a variant of a Lamborghini product. It was. I think the R8 was interesting because it was Audi doing it. You know what I mean?
True.
More than the Audi. If the R8 was anybody else, I think we would like it, but we wouldn't. At the time it came out, we would have been like, "What just happened?" The Iron Man effect of the fact that Audi was making a supercar, I think that elevated the R8. The R8 by itself is a very nice mid-engine supercar.
Until we all learned that it was a Gallardo, or
Yes.
Gallardo owners were like,
but it's not like that was a watershed moment in car creation. So I actually think of these 4, as much as it's surprising to say, I think Audi goes away. I think it is the one that does the least destruction to the pantheon of cars.
I think you're right in considering the brands like they're arranged here, because I thought Volkswagen as an entire group. If we get rid of Volkswagen Group, Volkswagen encompasses VW commercial vehicles, Skoda, Seat, Cupra, Audi, Bentley, Lamborghini, Ducati, and Porsche. So if I say Volkswagen is going away, does that instantly mean all the other brands? Because then you're left with 2, Mercedes and BMW, and that's it.
Fair point. Yeah. All right.
But I'm leaving it open because they are all run separately, even though the Porsche and the Volkswagen CEO are pretty much the same guy.
Yeah, yeah.
Porsche can't go away. It can't. Mercedes can't go away. The inventor of the modern automobile, or the inventor of the car.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah.
Mercedes can't go away. BMW, they can't go away.
Nope.
The amount of concepts that BMW has created over the years almost exceeds the number of production cars they've actually done.
They've done a lot of weird moonshot
The
stuff.
amount of
It's
just
very
screwing around and trying things that
You're absolutely
BMW
right, yes.
concepts
Yeah,
represent
you're right. That's good. That's
is
very
almost more than the actual models they've actually brought to market, like that you can buy. So therefore, if I say VW, I think of all the car companies. Audi means quattro to me.
Yeah.
Audi means the classier, more gentlemanly, the next upgrade from Subaru.
Yeah. Performance all-wheel drive. Absolutely. Yeah.
So if we're leaving it just as Volkswagen the brand, I say get rid of Volkswagen, because aside from the GTI, but Skoda and Seat can pick up that slack. Certainly
Okay.
Cupra could.
Okay.
But otherwise, VW as a brand, don't care.
You really don't care.
Not
anymore. I know you
interested.
don't. Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
So for me, Volkswagen, just that brand goes away, but then Volkswagen, the corporate, still needs to have Lambo and Bentley and Porsche and Ducati and all the rest. But Skoda, Seat, and Cupra, they can all pick up the slack with all the other entry-level bread and butter models.
Yeah, yeah.
Specifically because there's clearly more freedom in styling and design in those other 3 companies than there is at Volkswagen.
That's a good point. It's a good
If
point.
Volkswagen allowed themselves
to
to kind of break out of their shell and start doing some wild and crazy stuff, even half that, even a tenth of wild and crazy, just a small amount, and start really pushing on it, because you look at the same models from Seat and Skoda and go, those are cool looking. I would own those. The equivalent VW, I am uninterested in.
Interesting. Yeah, I see it. I see it.
And that way we get rid of the Taos and the Tiguan and
the T-Rock.
And that way we can get rid of all those. So I say Volkswagen.
5-seaters. That's very good. I really like that. Mark is writing in as well and saying, power versus handling at a track day. I'm guessing many of you are guessing my answer right here, but he's saying, would we rather drive a car with great power and pretty good handling, or a car with slightly better handling, less weight, and much less power? He's thinking about it for, I guess you're specifically talking about track days, but I'm going to say in general, power is a Band-Aid. It's not a fix for better driving, and it's not a fix for a better experience. And we have this conversation at many of our Hooked on Driving track days in the driver's meeting. The running joke is this, and I want to step to the side real quick and say there are plenty of drivers at HOD track days in powerful cars that drive very quickly. And there are plenty of drivers at our track days and all track days that drive Corvettes very quickly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But we also say in every driver's meeting, if you are in a Corvette and you are coming through the corners and there is a Miata on your tailpipe, it doesn't matter that you're more powerful than him in the straight. You need to let him by the first passing opportunity, because while you could be faster in the straight, they are driving faster than you overall, because that's why, and we see it every track day. Somebody in a really powerful car will leave everybody in the lightweight stuff and low power stuff on the straight. And then you'll watch them get chewed on over the course of the rest of the lap as everybody in the lighter weight cars with better handling just works their way up behind them. You should let the lighter car pass. A lighter car, Miata's GR86, pick your lightweight car, Lotus Elise, that handles really well, will teach you more as a driver. And I think overall, not only will you become a better driver, but I think you will enjoy it more to have something that handles well. And the other thing that nobody tells you is the powerful stuff is often the heavy stuff. And the heavy stuff blows through tires and brakes. Many of the really heavy, powerful cars can't get through a single day at the track, let alone 2 days, without needing 4 new tires and all new brakes. And the lighter stuff can go multiple days that way.
Over on Facebook, Eddie M. is currently evaluating the purchase of an Elantra N and has observed varying opinions regarding the interior materials. While reviews often cite the presence of hard touch points, it's Eddie's understanding this is a trade-off to maintain the vehicle's competitive pricing within the economy car segment. Is this assessment accurate? I think it is, mostly. I mean, I'll say yes, and that is because the proliferation of techniques to make a material more cheaply than it actually is represented. Wood paneling, wood dash paneling. Stitching, we saw the proliferation of stitching to the point where the software from Autodesk that I used to use and sell and instruct others to use actually introduced jitter into the stitching for car manufacturers to introduce slop into the steering or into the stitching
to make it look like it was hand done.
To make it look hand done. In the dash, in the seats, it's called jitter, and you could actually adjust, make the software adjust.
You could
how
adjust jitter.
Sloppy you want it to be.
That's terrible.
So it starts with software to make it more hand-formed. But all these hard touch points you're talking about, well, they've got to have texture. If it's just shiny, hard plastic, that's even cheaper. That feels even cheaper. So car suppliers, all the tier suppliers, they're actually trying to invent techniques to make a material mimic something else that is a higher level, that anything that was first manifested in, for me, really in the BMW X5 soft touch paint on the door handles.
Sure.
Remember the soft touch paint, and that door handle felt luxurious.
Yeah.
And then the 5-year-old version of it was all peeling off, and you could scratch it with your thumb. And
yes.
Same thing with the Ferraris. Remember the F355 switch gear, the sticky switches? People make businesses just making switches for you to replace in your Ferraris, and that's their livelihood.
Yep.
Same kind of thing. So all the things you touch, of course, things you look at, but when you do touch it, it's not going to feel like what it is. But I feel like we're on the cusp of moving past high gloss piano black.
It'd be really nice.
We there?
I'm not sure what's next, but it'd be really nice to move past that. Yes.
The open pore wood, the nickel plating, the burnished dull aluminum, the dull
those.
metals.
Those look really cool. Yeah.
Those are really nice. Textiles, even on the dash.
Yeah, that's true. That's
really
good.
nice.
Yeah. Nice material.
Different panels in the seats, all of that kind of stuff. And then of course, higher quality materials will just lend an aura of even higher quality. But I think your assessment's correct, and we're going to continue to see car manufacturers really differentiate themselves, not just in styling, but in the interior materials themselves. So you get in because that's where you live.
Yep.
Wow, this is a nice place to be. Wow, that's different. I like this.
Aaron's writing in with two different things related to Hooked on Driving. His first one is he was talking to his wife and trying to explain what Hooked on Driving is, and he was explaining instructors, etc., and how you're learning to drive in the car. And she said, wait a minute, is it like Hooked on Phonics but for driving?
Oh my gosh.
Aaron, here's the thing. When the company was formed about 20 years ago, it was exactly coined after that. It was like Hooked on Phonics, which was very popular at the time, but for driving. So Hooked on Driving. We love it because it is beyond just track days. And so it is becoming more and more the adventure side of what Everyday Driver does, which is the media side. We just had this Park City Drive Days. We're doing more later this year. We're going to do Europe trips again this year and more domestic trips next year. So we'll keep having those trips that are on top of the fact that we have nationwide track days. You can find a track day near you at hookedondriving.com. So yes, we are thrilled about the fact that we're just getting you out and driving, which relates directly to this podcast, so that is part of it. His second comment was, what's our opinion of extreme experience or similar things where you pay some money? He said he went to one, and he has his review. He said he gave it kind of like a 6 out of 10. But it's the thing where essentially it's an exotic driving experience. You pay typically hundreds of dollars to go and do, it's typically like 3 laps of a racetrack in an exotic car. Aaron, ultimately, this is fine, but this is not designed, I don't think, for the person that has ever driven a sports car or is really a car enthusiast. They are a person that looks at exotic cars from afar while they drive an Outback or a minivan. And I'm not making fun of those cars. I'm just saying their lifestyle and headspace is they're never buying a sports car. They're never buying a supercar, but they've looked at them from afar, and so they can get the chance to say they drove that crazy Lamborghini.
Exactly. I've driven a Ferrari.
Exactly. And the way those are set up, honestly, the way the instructor is set up in those situations is totally unlike what we do at Hooked on Driving. The instructor in that situation, they are assembly lining people through as fast as possible.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about making you a better driver. It's not about really teaching you the car. It is literally about getting you around the track successfully and nobody's dented. Because
Yes.
a person that is coming
Yes.
out of, and please don't misunderstand me, I am not coming down on this business model. There is a world for this. It's similar to Speed Vegas in Vegas that we've been to. The concept is you're selling an experience. You're not selling a car or driving itself. And so the instructor is going to be just about telling you what you need to do to get around the track successfully to then park the car for the next person. There's no learning involved here. It's survival on the part of the instructor and on the part of the driver. But if the driver's coming out of minivan or whatever they've driven before, that's going to feel like driving a spaceship.
Mm-hmm.
The level of power, the level of grip is going to be so far beyond whatever they've experienced otherwise. And that is the person it's designed for. I don't have a problem with it, but if you want to learn to drive or go to a track day, don't do those things. Bring your car, even if it is the Outback or the minivan, and come to one of our events.
Guys, we'll leave things there. We've got more questions to get to, and we definitely will. Write to us on social media. Write to us everydaydrivertv@gmail.com. Anything that's on your mind. We love the car debates. We love Topic Tuesdays, things that are currently in the news, and we're watching too. But we really appreciate you watching. We really appreciate those of you listening too. Thank you for your patronage. We've got more COTA road trip films coming.
Lots more, yeah.
Lots more in the pipeline there. And thank you for watching. Really appreciate it. Until next time. Cheers, everyone.